120 years ago, this was our main form of transportation. Then Ford came along with a more efficient alternative, and he redefined the entire sector. Innovation continues to streamline our transportation, making it more efficient and now more sustainable. Technological advancements are continually redesigning the way that we live. So it's worth asking ourselves, what areas of our lives are ripe for innovation? What about how we get our food? Is there a way we could transcend the inefficiencies of our current food system? Innovators, entrepreneurs, and chefs are realizing there's ample opportunity to make our food system more efficient and sustainable by reimagining the way that we get our protein. There's a clear emerging trend showing a growing market for protein alternatives. The most recent market forecasts predict by 2020, global plant-based dairy sales will be at about 19.5 billion, and global meat alternative sales will be at 5 billion. To put that in perspective, in the past year, milk alternatives grew by 3.1%, while sales of cow's milk declined by 5%. Driven by animal welfare, health, and environmental concerns, more than a third of Americans buy plant-based meat alternatives, and over a fourth of consumers said they ate less meat in the past year. And there are huge investors investing in meat alternatives. Take Beyond Meat, a plant-based meat company. Beyond Meat has received investments from Leonardo DiCaprio to meat industry giant Tyson Foods. Memphis Meats is another example. They are a food technology startup that's working to develop cultured meat, something I'll talk more about in a little bit. Memphis Meats has received multi-millions in funding from Bill Gates to global food conglomerate Cargill. And just as a side note, Bill Gates also invests in Beyond Meat. So today I'm going to talk about why there's so much interest in new protein sources and what the two main forms of emerging meat alternatives are. I've had the opportunity to meet many people working to produce meat alternatives, and many are motivated by the plight of animals, but I've also met people in the industry who still eat meat, but they understand that the current system for us getting our protein is wildly inefficient and outdated. This is an aerial image of a cattle factory farm in Texas. The little squares are feedlots, the little dots are cattle, and on the right we see the huge manure lagoon that collects all of the waste from the factory farm. Regardless of where you stand about the ethics of eating animals, the fact of the matter is, raising and killing billions of animals is extremely resource intensive. Factory farming is not an efficient way to get our protein, and it's not a sustainable solution to feed 9 billion people. United Nations scientists state that raising animals for food is one of the major causes of the world's most pressing environmental problems, including global warming, land degradation, air and water pollution, and loss of biodiversity. Growing crops to feed animals is also vastly inefficient. It hikes up the prices of grains and legumes, and it diverts land and grain to feed animals rather than feed humans directly. And 70% of antibiotics used in the US are given to farm animals. This is exacerbating the issue of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, also known as superbugs, that cannot be killed by standard antibiotics. Fortunately, there's a better way for us to get our protein. There's incredible innovation underway in the world of plant-based foods. Food scientists are examining animal products at the molecular level to source plants with matching proteins and nutrients. This innovation is creating delicious, plant-based meat alternatives that are healthier and more sustainable than conventional animal products. A great example is Impossible Foods. Impossible Foods is a Silicon Valley startup on a mission to make our food system more sustainable. They've created the Impossible Burger, seen here, that's made entirely of plants. The main ingredients are potatoes, wheat, and coconut oil. Although it's made of plants, it looks, tastes, smells, and even bleeds like a beef burger. But compared to a beef burger, the Impossible Burger uses 1/4 of the water, 1/20th of the land, and produces 1/8 of the greenhouse gases. Another great example is Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat is an alternative meat company leading the way in plant-based innovation. They recently launched a new line of sausages called Beyond Sausages, and these sausages have the same juicy taste and texture of pork, but compared to pork sausage, Beyond Meat's product has more protein, 43% less fat, 38% less saturated fat, and 27% fewer calories, as well as 26% less sodium. And innovation is also occurring in the kitchen, where chefs are finding new and delicious ways to put plants at the center of our plates. Here we don't see a rack of ribs, that's actually a rack of mushrooms. In the center we have a seitan cutlet, which means it is wheat-based, and here we have a barbecue jackfruit burger. As I mentioned earlier, there's another way we'll likely get our protein in the future, and that's from cultured meat, also known as clean meat. San Francisco-based Memphis Meat is leading the way in this field, and this is how they describe their product. We're developing a way to produce real meat from animal cells without the need to breed, feed, and slaughter actual animals. We expect our products to be better for the animals, public health, and the environment, requiring up to 90% fewer greenhouse gas emissions, land, and water than conventionally produced meat. And most importantly, they're delicious. Unlike plant-based meat alternatives, clean meat is 100% real animal meat, but it's grown in a more efficient way by only growing the animal meat cells that we want instead of raising and killing an entire animal for the same product. And both of these images are products from Memphis Meats. They're still in the development phase, but if all goes according to plan, Memphis Meats poultry and beef will be available at supermarkets by 2021. The reason people working on cellular agriculture are calling their products clean meat is because they're literally a cleaner, healthier alternative than the way we get meat today. Some people find the idea of clean meat to be off-putting because it's unnatural, but there's really nothing natural or appetizing about the current system. Another apprehension some people have to clean meat is the fact that it's lab-grown. But this is a slight misconception. The research to produce clean meat is happening all over the world, in labs all over the world. However, when these products come to market, they'll likely be produced in big facilities very similar to breweries. That means the cells will be grown in large vats, very similar to the infrastructure used to ferment alcohol, as seen in this photo. That means we'll have a highly efficient, controlled, and sterile environment producing 100% real meat without antibiotics or the risk of bacterial contamination, such as fecal matter, that is standard in conventional meat production. While still in the early stages of development, the plant-based and clean meat sector is already generating groundbreaking products with huge opportunity for continued growth. Currently, only 8% of potential plant protein alternatives have been explored, and all of these products they're more sustainable. They use less land, less fossil fuels, and less water. Plant-based and clean meat technology promises a future without factory farming. A future where we will look back in horror that we used to get our protein through such an inefficient system, wrought with cruelty, health hazards, and environmental destruction. In 2013, Bill Gates ate a chicken taco with Beyond Meat's chicken. It was his first time trying the product, and he's quoted as saying, "What I was experiencing was more than a clever meat substitute. It was a taste of the future of food." Thank you.